The quiet hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen often served as the soundtrack to my evenings. A steady, predictable rhythm that mirrored the life I had built. For years it was a comforting sound, a reminder of the home I shared, the love that filled it, and the future I meticulously planned with him. We had a beautiful life, or so I believed. A cozy apartment filled with laughter and shared dreams, dinners cooked together, movies watched on the sofa, whispered secrets in the dark. Our connection felt unbreakable, forged through years of shared experiences, understanding, and an unspoken promise of forever. He was my rock, my confidant, the one person who knew me better than anyone else. I loved him, truly, deeply. There was no question of that, not then. But slowly, imperceptibly at first, a subtle shift began to occur. A faint crack appeared in the seemingly solid foundation of our happiness. A hairline fracture that I initially ignored, dismissing it as the natural ebb and flow of any long-term relationship. The laughter became a little less frequent, the whispers a little softer, the shared dreams a bit more distant. We still went through the motions, the routines that had become so ingrained, but the spark, that vibrant, exhilarating energy that once defined us, seemed to dim. We grew comfortable, perhaps too comfortable, settling into a pattern of predictable affection rather than passionate connection. I started to feel an emptiness, a longing for something more, something undefined and elusive. Then he walked into my life, not with a bang, but with a whisper, a subtle shift in the air. He was different, exciting, and he saw me in a way I hadn't felt seen in a very long time. His eyes held an intensity that ignited something within me, a forgotten fire that I hadn't realized had dwindled to embers. He made me laugh in a new way, challenged my thoughts, and listened with an attentiveness that felt incredibly flattering. It started innocently enough, just conversations, shared glances, a harmless flirtation, or so I told myself. It was a refreshing change, a breath of fresh air in the otherwise stagnant atmosphere of my increasingly routine existence. I convinced myself it was just friendship, a harmless diversion, a way to feel alive again without crossing any lines. But lines are tricky things. They blur, they shift, they disappear when you're not paying close enough attention, or when you actively choose to ignore them. One evening, after a particularly challenging day, his comforting presence, his understanding smile, felt like a lifeline. One drink turned into two, shared stories flowed easily, and before I knew it, his hand was on mine, a gentle electric touch that sent a jolt through my entire being. It wasn't just physical, it was an emotional awakening, a rush of excitement and validation that I hadn't felt in years. In that moment, the quiet hum of my refrigerator, the comfort of my home, the solidity of my relationship, all seemed miles away, swallowed by the intoxicating allure of the unknown. The affair began not with a conscious decision, but with a slow, insidious slide into secrecy and deception. Each stolen moment, each clandestine message, each hurried meeting filled me with a perverse mixture of exhilaration and guilt. The thrill of being desired, of feeling seen and understood, was a powerful drug. It was a temporary escape from the growing dissatisfaction in my primary relationship, a way to momentarily silence the questions that gnawed at me about my own happiness and fulfillment. And I told myself it wasn't real, that it was just a fantasy, a harmless escapade. But fantasies have a way of seeping into reality, blurring the lines until you can no longer distinguish between the two. The lies became more intricate, woven into the fabric of my daily life with increasing ease. Late nights became working late, weekend excursions became time with friends. The performance was exhausting, a constant mental gymnastics act, but the immediate gratification of the affair often overshadowed the gnawing fear of discovery. I saw the signs, the subtle shifts in his demeanor, the way his eyes would linger on mine a little longer, searching, questioning. He started to notice my distance, the way I would pull away, physically and emotionally. His quiet concern, his gentle attempts to bridge the growing chasm between us, only amplified my guilt. I felt like a monster, living a double life, betraying the trust of the man who loved me unconditionally. There were moments, brief flashes of clarity, when the weight of my actions would crush me. I would look at his sleeping face, so peaceful and trusting, and a wave of profound sorrow would wash over me. How could I do this to him? To us? The beautiful life we had built was slowly crumbling beneath my feet, eroded by my own selfish choices. I knew I was destroying something precious, something irreplaceable, but the fear of confronting my actions, of admitting the truth, felt insurmountable. I was trapped in a web of my own making, desperate to break free, but too cowardly to sever the threads. The discovery came, as it always does, not with a dramatic flourish, but with a quiet, devastating certainty. It wasn't a confrontational scene, no shouting, no accusations hurled across a room. It was much more painful than that. He found a message, a single incriminating text that shattered the illusion I had so carefully constructed. His silence was the loudest sound I had ever heard. The look in his eyes, a mixture of profound hurt, confusion, and utter betrayal, will forever be etched into my memory. It was the moment my world, and his, irrevocably broke. The aftermath was a blur of tears, explanations that felt hollow even to my own ears, and the agonizing realization of the depth of the damage I had inflicted. The trust, once an unshakable bond between us, was utterly destroyed, reduced to ashes. The foundation of our relationship, once so solid, had crumbled into dust. He looked at me, not with anger, but with a profound sadness that pierced my soul. All the love, all the shared history, all the promises, seemed to evaporate in the face of my deception. The days that followed were a purgatory of regret. He moved out, the silence in the apartment becoming a constant, painful reminder of his absence. Every object, every shared memory became a ghost, haunting me with what I had lost. The affair, once a source of illicit excitement, now felt cheap and meaningless, a shallow distraction that had cost me everything truly valuable. The man I had sought comfort from, the one who made me feel seen, quickly faded into the background, his role in my life diminishing as the true consequences of my actions came crashing down. He was a temporary fix, an escape that offered no lasting solace, only further pain. I was left with the wreckage of my choices, a heart heavy with guilt, and a profound sense of loneliness. I had chased an ephemeral spark, a fleeting thrill, and in doing so, I had extinguished the steady, enduring flame of genuine love and companionship. The person I had become, the one capable of such profound betrayal, was a stranger to me, a reflection I barely recognized. The pain was immense, a constant ache that permeated every aspect of my existence. Reconciliation, as I soon learned, was not a given. Some things, once broken, cannot be fully repaired. The shards of trust, no matter how carefully collected, could never fully reform into the seamless whole they once were. His hurt ran deeper than I could ever comprehend, a wound that would likely never fully heal. And I, the one who inflicted it, would forever carry the burden of that knowledge. The quiet hum of the refrigerator is still the soundtrack to my evenings, but now it's a stark, solitary sound. It's no longer comforting. It's a constant reminder of the emptiness that fills the space where love and laughter once thrived. I am learning to live with the consequences of my choices, with the profound regret that gnaws at me daily. It is a harsh lesson, learned at an unbearable cost. Infidelity is not just a breach of trust. It is an explosion that demolishes not only a relationship but also a part of your own soul. The path forward is uncertain, paved with self-reflection and the slow, arduous work of rebuilding myself, of forgiving myself, if that is even possible. I lost him. I lost us. And in a profound way, I lost a piece of who I thought I was. The silence now is deafening, a constant echo of the vibrant life I recklessly threw away. I carry the weight of that loss every single day, a constant reminder of the destructive power of a single selfish act.